Okay guys, welcome to this video. I think I've mentioned before that I planned to do a video like this on two selected topics, and some people have asked for it. So here it is, and maybe this video helps a bit to also understand the big picture, to also understand why some people still do not get what's going on, why there's a lot of ignorance on the dumb money side. So what I'm trying to show you here is basically different kinds of consciousness levels. Yes, that's why I wrote CL. And this is by no means going for completeness. I just want to explain to you the general concept. And I should also say that if this was about the number of people out there, the pyramid should be on its head. Okay, most people are of course very ignorant, and just a very few selection of people has a high consciousness regarding the FX markets. Of course, this applies to a lot of other things as well, but let's stick to our main topic, which is FX markets and the manipulation. So, as you know, I categorize between smart money, semi-smart money, dumb money, and there's also the dumb money. Remember that, the dumb money is not stupid. They just have an informational disadvantage, which is exploited by the smart money. And remember that, the smart money sometimes even takes advantage of the semi-smart money on rare occasions. But I will talk about this later when I show you the second diagram. So what is the message here? I gave you examples, and this is based on my experience as well. I have shown you by now a lot of content, a lot of evidence, a lot of, live screenshots, live videos, explanations, all this stuff. I have proven to you that the FX markets are highly manipulated. Not only that, I went far beyond. I've shown to you that it's, stop hunting is just a small percentage of the overall manipulation. I've even shown you more advanced principles, how the smart money algos manage to make all the groups on the dumb money side lose, what kind of general concepts they apply in the algorithms, so that on the dumb money side all groups will end up losing, whether they are buying or selling, whether they are trading in the short term or long term, whether they are trading pullbacks, reversals, breakouts, trends, whatever it is. Okay, so I've shown you how this all fits together, even though intuitively these things would be contradictory. You would think, well, how can they move any price without making people win? And yes, according to the dumb money tolerance principle, of course, if the tolerance is higher, some positions are allowed into profit sometimes, but overall, because of the concepts that are applied by the algorithms, the dumb money loses, as I've explained before. And this is maybe a nice way to make you understand, whenever you talk with someone about these topics, you in your head, you can place them in one of those categories in order to, adjust yourself to the consciousness level. Yeah, I mean, and here the first level, the lowest consciousness level is, represented by people who think that despite everything I've shown and proven, foreign exchange markets are not manipulated. They think that the supply and demand fairy tale is true, that the price goes up when there's excess demand and vice versa, that nobody can move the price, that everything is fair, it's fair competition, etc. They simply don't think things through, and they tend to have no practical experience at all. They tend to have not seen any financial institutions from the inside. They have not made any research. They tend to be not even real traders. If they also trade, they tend to be losing traders. And experienced traders, they will say, well, yeah, there is stop hunting. They know it intuitively just from being aware that sometimes the price makes, let's say, erratic moves and just breaks to one direction and does an exaggerated move. They know that something is going on there which cannot be explained by fundamentals or by economic news or whatever it is. But they think that these phenomena are peripheral, not that they are there all the time. And then the next conscious level would be people who are aware that stop hunting is not only like very common, it's also a dominant force. Yeah, so that the market is all about that. So they are aware that this is very significant and not just a small phenomena which appears now and then. And then this is a very important step, and I have tried to bring you there. Okay, so to realize it's not only about stop hunting. Yeah, So despite there are different types of stops, like short-term, medium, long-term, and they all have different dynamics and priorities, there are also, position ones, and not only that, there, the algorithms pay close attention to where the positions are located, where are the dumb money positions in the market, and they will move the price respecting that. Remember the position bar principle, remember the blocking principle, and these things I've shown with real examples. Now then we come to a more advanced consciousness level. So people who are now aware of the stop hunting, the position ones, also short-term games, they understand that, there are certain phenomena the algos applied, for example, to specific time frames. One is H4, I haven't shown so far, but another is the short-term games I have already briefly described. In order to kick out any day traders on the dumb money side, they, for example, use time and range to the maximum. They do those 10-hour flat markets in between. They do, big moves in the range to take out all the short-term stops near the price, people who place tight stops just to kick them out, otherwise they would have a nice risk-reward ratio, so they make sure that doesn't happen. And then we come to the more advanced level of consciousness, so you're aware of all this, of the stop hunt phenomena, of the position phenomena of the short-term games, and also the general algo principles, out of which I've shown some already. So those general principles the smart money algos follow in order to make sure that there is no contradiction, so to speak, that the algos always prioritize correctly. And the next step would be to understand that despite all that, there is dumb money tolerance. Yes, there are cases where the dumb money is allowed to win a bit. But remember, the reasons for that is, as I've shown in trade examples as well. For example, there is a big stop accumulation, let's say long-term accumulation. And for the smart money, it's more important to kill that stop accumulation, which was before more far away from the price. And in that process, after they use the time and range to the maximum, they may let some dumb money positions into profit. Okay, because it's more important for the smart money to take out the big target they may have worked towards within weeks, for example. And these are the rare occasions. And remember, the dumb money is completely blind. They don't know when this is the case. And so if there are some lucky guys who were on that side, they may have one or two winning trades by accident. And I think it's all fair. You understand? Now, the next level would be to understand the difference between inner range and outer range markets. Okay, so the dumb money tolerance increases if the markets are out of range. So when there are long trends in the market, they did like a lot of position runs in one direction, took out the dumb money, and the dumb money starts to disappear. Then of course the tolerance is high because there's not much dumb money left, and therefore smart money may just snap in the opposite direction and do a fish bar or whatever to take out the guys who were placed correctly, who try to ride the trend, etc. Okay, so basically then the higher consciousness level refers to the meta levels. Okay, now the meta levels I did not explain, and I'm not sure I will explain it here neither. Just be aware they are there. Okay, there's a handful of meta levels which is comprised of additional information, and the algorithms without question incorporate that into their daily decisions to move the price. It's all pre-programmed, of course it's monitored by humans, but the whole thing is automated, so they have an execution advantage, they have a advantage when it comes to transaction cost, to speed, etc. Okay, and let me show you the next diagram to make this diagram. So you could say, well, there's this foreign exchange food chain, yes? So at the top you have the smart money algorithms, the smart money funds, the iBanks. And then you have some smart money where there are big brokers. There is semi-smart money as well, represented by retail brokers. These guys, they may be price takers, but still they may do manipulation games against the clients by moving the spreads, by slipping the client, by actually inducing price spikes which were never there in the real liquidity pool they have access to, etc. And then, of course, with the dumb money, which is made up of corporates, as I've shown before. And then the dumb money tends to be on the retail trader side. They're only a small percentage of the market. The big guys on the dumb money side are corporates. And remember, as I've explained before, these market participants are not in the market to make a profit, necessarily. They are in the market to place big orders in order to hedge currency fluctuations. I have explained that before. But they're not aware that their positions are taken advantage of by the smart money. Now remember the case of, let's say, Alpari, where we had the Euro Swissy 4,000 pip move, and this move led some retail brokers to go bust, including Alpari. This is a rare occasion where the smart money algos even goes for the semi-smart money. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens now and then. Okay, so they have full price moving ability. They don't. So in a way, these guys are still price takers, okay? So this is basically how the whole system is designed. And the money flows from down to the upside, of course, It flows from the dumb money to the smart money. The dumb money has no price moving abilities. They're taken advantage of. And even the semi-smart money sometimes has no price moving abilities. But the smart money itself does. As I've shown before, they pay their big fines in the billions on a regular basis every few years, but they continue the game because it is a highly profitable game for them. So basically the system is designed to make the rich richer, okay, and the poor poorer, so to say. The small guys poorer, let's say. So now let's go back to the other diagram, because there are a few things I wanted to explain. Now you can imagine the following potential for conflict. For example, if there's someone who has observed the manipulation games for years, and he has actually traded it and has experienced it firsthand over 10,000 of hours, he is aware of this. It's a reality for him. Now imagine that such a person meets or talks to a conscious level 1 person, okay? Someone who had no real exposure to those realities, who was never able to get a glimpse of the inner workings of the engine, who was only on the price taker side, who only sees the price, so has seen nothing else. Of course, there's potential conflict, because the person with a lower consciousness level will not believe it. They didn't see the evidence themselves. They didn't take advantage of that reality themselves. So why should they believe that that's how it is? Apart from the fact that humans have a tendency to believe that, they are in control to a certain degree, and they don't like to think that they're taken advantage of. And this is where things get quite ridiculous. This is why on the very, very low conscious level side, and remember, this pyramid should be upside down if it was about the number of people, because most people, unfortunately, are ignorant. I hope that through my work, some people increase their consciousness level. Okay? And a lot have already, so I'm proud of that. A lot of people have already increased their consciousness level. And which means, that basically is making the dumb money smarter, as I say. Now, you can imagine, that this is potential for conflict. People just being very ignorant, they just want to keep their eyes closed. They want to think it's a fair game. They want to think they have any fair chance of succeeding. They want to believe in all these fairy tales of, trading 2 hours per day and making an income by the side, which for more than 90% is a complete illusion. They will not only not make money, they will even lose money. Yes. And, they also are not aware even of the most basic facts which are accepted by anyone. Yeah, that, for example, more than 90%, some say 95% of market participants lose money. So, if you would just start with those basic facts and then you would work your way up, you would understand yourself what's going on. just by pure logic. You know, so for example, if the price would not be manipulated and it would be random whether it goes up or down, well, then something like 50% of market participants would need to win. The traders may change the group they are in from winners to losers, but overall, the statistics would need to look very different, not 95% losers. Now, it's interesting, whenever you meet someone who is an experienced trader, I tell you the following. Either they are intuitively aware, but they cannot cognitively explain to you why the price does what it does, because they have made their own stories, their own explanations, and for them it works. And for example, people like Al Brooks, who trades a naked chart, he has written books about all that, and he says in the introduction clearly, look, it may be completely wrong, my explanations, but it doesn't matter. For me, this works. So he may say, look, the bulls are stronger than the bears, and so on. But, intuitively, it's he does something based on screen time, on something he observed over many, many hours. He's aware that the actual mechanics may be different. And what I have done here is I have shown you the actual market mechanics. The different groups of market participants, how they interact, the tricks which are applied, how, even though it's just a two-dimensional chart, the engine is quite complex. And I've broken down the complexity in understandable principles, which someone with a lower consciousness level has a chance to actually grasp. Okay? That's what I've done, what I'm doing. So, and I tell you what, you will not find this level of detail anywhere. Yes, there are some videos of people or traders explaining on naked charts general concepts, but I'm showing you the actual market micro and macro structure. I'm showing you the actual stop hunts. I'll show you the actual pricing of positions. I'll show you, the actual mechanics, how they are applied. Okay? And you can imagine that before I was able to do so, I went through a long process of pre-work. Okay? I had, and the only way to understand it was to put observation first. Okay? First, just observe how the reality is. Do not come to any quick conclusions, because many things are counterintuitive. And then once you have observed it enough and documented enough and analyzed, then you can formulate general principles, as I did. I wish when I started out, somebody would have done that for me and shown me this. This would have been a great basis to, either improve the own approach or strategy, or to even establish an own approach or strategy. Yes. Now, obviously, as I've said, there are some market secrets. Yeah, this is already secret knowledge in my view. Okay, especially the more you come to the higher consciousness levels, there's already secret knowledge exposed, and this is, of course, very, very exclusive knowledge, as you hopefully realize. Now, just based on these kind of consciousness levels, you are already able to adjust your approach. The first thing you should do is you should understand why you're losing money, why the things you're trying do not work, why you are part of the 95%. Yes, even though, and look, let me emphasize that again. People overemphasize emotions. Now, if you would have perfect control of emotions, this doesn't mean you make money. If you have a system which doesn't work, it still doesn't work. And let me tell you, based on 10,000 of hours of testing and trading, most systems don't work. Even the ones which look good, live or in hindsight, they tend to be losing overall. And even if you find a system which works for 3 months, there's a high tendency in today's quick markets with changing conditions that after 3-4 months it completely dies. You can see these things if you do your testing, tick data testing, for example. Yeah? Do not dare to just create a system based on some indicators which looks good visually, which you didn't test, and then to go to the market and trade this thing with real money. Most likely it won't work. Even if it works for a few weeks, it will completely die. The account curve will go down, down, down. I warned you. And I've shown you why. The system will fall victim to those manipulation games eventually. Especially if there's no adaptive component in the system or approach. Yeah, I hope you're aware of this. So that's the first conclusion, yes, to avoid those obvious traps. The second conclusion is, okay, maybe you can improve your approach that it doesn't fall victim to at least some of these phenomena, and to understand your informational disadvantage and transaction cost disadvantage. And the higher level would be to even establish a system or approach based on those principles, which maybe even exploit some of those phenomena. Yeah. But either way, please be aware that, and it's the same for other areas. There's more ignorance than you would ever think. Yeah, it appears that human ignorance is limitless. People, they stick to belief system, often not based on any evidence or any experience. Yeah, they just do a lot of assumptions. They fall victim to a lot of psychological biases, like survivorship bias, like a whole set of psychological biases, and this in itself represents a lot of problems. If you want to have any chance to be a successful market participant, my advice to you is increase your conscious level as much as you can, based on the actual realities in the market. Do not just assume things, okay? Look, personally, I'm a very optimistic person, but my base case is always a skeptical approach. Be aware of the things you do not know. Be aware of the things in particular you do not know that you don't know. Okay, do not have a big ego. You cannot, apply any approach to the market if you have a big ego and you want to be right. If you're serious about trading, put in the hours. Okay, invest the work and effort and resources. Really understand what's going on in the market. Otherwise, you will be a sitting duck. Okay, you have no chance whatsoever against the smart money. They will just take your money and get richer. And whenever you talk to someone who has a lower consciousness level, be understanding, adjust your language, adjust your approach, understand that you need to first open up the next level for them, because before they are on a level to talk to you eye to eye. So understand that not everybody is on the same level. Be patient. Some people first need to see more evidence before they finally realize what's going on. Okay, everybody has their own pace. And of course, you will also find really, really bad cases of people who, try to really block, prevent other people from increasing their consciousness. Okay, there are people out there with bad intentions. There are companies out there with bad intentions. Yes. Okay, this video was supposed to be short, but actually, in the end, it was longer than expected. And I think this is a good concept whenever you interact with others, when you talk with other traders, when you see analysts, commenting on the market, when you see banks publishing trade recommendations and all that stuff. This actually now should give you a better way of thinking. Okay, who has control? How does this work? Why are you failing? It's, as I said, often it's not only about the emotions and risk management. These things are necessary, of course. They are part of the game. I don't want to talk them down. Like, you need to have some kind of proper risk management, yes. However, my work concentrates on why do prices move like they do? Why do they go up? Why do they go down? Why does your system not work? Where do you actually fall victim to the manipulation? How does this manipulation work day by day? Why are they doing what they're doing? What is the reality? Okay, I think that's enough for now. Stay safe.